Hello, kiddies. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. You're listening to Drop the Mic.
What is this?
Shall now commence reading aloud the Book of the Dead.
Mom? Open up now. We can be a big, happy family again.
You don't look so good, Mom.
Evil Dead Rise.
Welcome back to our Humble San Diego podcast. We're your hosts, Wesley Swanson and Ryan Jimenez, and give it up for our returning guest speaker, Miss Emma Duenas, once again. What's up? How are you?
What's up? Thanks for having me again.
Of course. So this is episode 334, Dead by Dawn, where we will be breaking down the newest installment of the Evil Dead universe. But before we flip through the notorious Book of the Dead, let's get warmed up, shall we?
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
Ryan, do you want to kick us off with some news?
I sure do. So in a recent post, Mortal Kombat 1's director has recently teased horror icons Ghostface, Michael Myers, Billy the Puppet, Chucky, and Pinhead, saying that they could all be coming as DLC to the franchise, which is awesome. I don't know how Billy the Puppet would work. I think that'd be hilarious. But pretty good stuff. Good to see Michael Myers in a fighting game like that.
Did you pick up Mortal Kombat 1 yet?
I haven't, because I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to beat one game as I go on. Somebody always says that I buy too much shit.
Then are you gonna get the new Mortal Kombat? Don't you like Mortal Kombat a lot?
I do like it. I'll get it if you buy it for me.
Okay. hint.
I recently heard a segment with one of the creators, the original creators, the video game creators of that game. And he was just going through how at the beginning they would just put those like secret moves that you can make. I don't know what you call them. Like when you just with the controller.
Oh, like you mean like combos?
Fatalities?
Yeah. And he was saying how they would just put them in there, but they would never tell anybody, and people would just figure it out. And they would be like rumors, and it would just be like endless rumors. And he was going through some of them, and he was saying how people are probably like kicking themselves over, like not figuring it out back then.
Like the babality, where you turn like them into babies and weird shit.
Yeah, weird shit like that.
Well, it's funny you said that, because like a pro Mortal Kombat player, he just found I think it's like an 82 hit combo in the new Mortal Kombat. It takes like a minute to fucking finish.
That's crazy. The creator was saying that they don't document those. Well, back then, I don't know now, but they'll just put them in there, but it's nowhere. It's not documented anywhere that exists in the game.
That's
it's just like
hilarious.
if you figure it out, you figure it out, and it's like through.
So it's
word of
probably
mouth.
ones from like Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 that are just sitting there and have never been figured out.
Discovered.
But I do the story. I don't know if you guys have read up on the story, but the story seems pretty cool for this one. Kind of like some multiverse stuff going on, and from different comics and the shows and stuff like that, and other video games. So I'm stoked to buy it. I don't know. That $70 asking price is always so much.
Is that the new thing
game.
for video games? Like adding new characters like that? Because like that's the direction that makes the money now?
It's been going for a while. Maybe how many Mortal Kombat do you say, Wes? Like maybe the last 4 or 5, 6 maybe?
Yeah, where
up to like PS3 where you could download new characters.
Yeah, like that's because of course you have like fighting games, they can get repetitive faster than like another style of game, you know. So I feel like that's what they do to kind of keep the freshness going for a little bit longer while they're developing the next installment. They'll release DLC like halfway through. Like I remember, what was it? There was one Mortal Kombat, I think, before they converted to the PS4 that had like Freddy Krueger and different characters that you could purchase or whatever, which kind of kicked that off. To answer your question.
It may sound like I know about video games, but I don't. Nothing. This is it. This is the extent of it.
Only Tomb Raider.
I used to play Tomb Raider on my PC when I was younger. And
you just dated yourself, Emma. You fucking booted up the CD-ROM?
Yes.
Speaking of, they have a new, they remastered all the old Tomb Raider games. And you can buy them for the next-gen consoles now. I think it's 1 through 3.
Yeah.
That came out originally for the PlayStation, those games are way too hard. And you can't see what you're doing because it's so blocky.
Yeah, the first one was fucking that shit fucking hurt my brain trying to beat it.
I remember my sisters were obsessed with that game, and they had so much patience. They would sit there and figure shit out, and it took us months and months and months, and they would get so far into these games that I didn't know. I don't know. I still don't know how they do it.
Moving forward, some more video game news, including someone I mentioned. On a Reddit post, a super famous leaker, he's been pretty spot on with video game and movie stuff the last couple of years, on Reddit, has said that Supermassive Games is currently working on a Scream video game. And it would be in the same vein as the other games, the Dark Pictures Anthology, Until Dawn, and The Quarry, which is kind of funny because FBI agents are wilding, because me and Wes were just talking about how we thought Michael Myers would be fucking perfect for a game like that. And now all of a sudden they're trying to make a Scream. So I'm excited. I like that company, and I haven't played any of the Dark Pictures, but The Quarry was good, even though the DLC was lacking and they gave us promises and they didn't finish the game.
They really didn't. But yeah, I played a few of the Dark Pictures anthology games, and although they're pretty short, very fun stuff. So I can't. That's awesome. I think if you're gonna pick like a premise for a horror IP, Scream would be the way to go for how those games are structured. You know, because there's a lot of ways to kind of stretch it out, and they kind of dive into the mystery aspect of stuff a lot with their stories. So that's very exciting.
A couple days ago, Netflix mailed out their final DVD. After 25 years, they finally pulled the plug on their mailing service, which is crazy that people were still using it. It's awesome, but kind of crazy. Do you guys want to know what the movie was, or do you know what the movie was rented?
I do not know.
I don't know.
The last movie rented was Coen Brothers' True Grit. And it was a DVD.
That is.
Do you want to know what the first DVD on Netflix has ever rented out to somebody?
No. Or go ahead.
It was Beetlejuice.
Really?
Yeah. Those were fun times, dude. If you lost those fucking envelopes, or my ass would spill drinks on them.
So, I've had my Netflix account since 2010 is when I think I first opened it. I have the same one. And I remember back then, we had it where you would, you would get your queue list and they'd send you Blu-rays or DVDs, right? And then a few years pass, and then they did this thing where they're like, you can keep both. You can do our new digital platform and like the physical media mailbox stuff, or you can pick just one. And I picked the digital streaming because I felt like they were asking too much to keep both. And then I never heard about the physical media side after that, so I had figured they had just kind of like quietly shut it down, but I guess they didn't.
It's so crazy. Do you remember? It's crazy. Do you guys remember when they announced that they were coming out with like a streaming service, and it was like a stream? Like I turned it on, I can see fucking movies. Are you serious? Like it's not cable or anything. Like I remember my mind was blown.
When did that start?
Over 10 years ago, right?
I would say it's got to be like 2011. It started for sure. Because I can remember vividly. The whole thing that was cool with it is like you could have a shitty internet connection and still stream stuff because it didn't. The bandwidth wasn't so much or whatever. So it was crazy where you're like, yeah, I can pick all of these movies, and it was just new technology back then. But I think it was like early to mid 2011. I think none of you guys did that where you had to pick the which service.
I picked the streaming.
Oh, okay.
No, I think I didn't get into that because that seems like the era of my blackouts.
So what's crazy is they started. I just looked it up. They started streaming movies on their website in January 2007.
But on the website, like you had to be on your computer.
Yeah. The new Silent Night trailer. Wes, you have no idea about it?
I do not. Do you, Emma? Silent Night?
What is that
about? It's a new movie coming out. The trailer dropped today, but I thought Wes had... Maybe I sent it to my other bitch. I don't know. But no. Silent Night is coming out in December. The first week of December. It's fucking Joel Kinnaman as like this like silent vigilante after his son is murdered, but it's directed by fucking John Woo.
Joel Kinnaman?
Yeah.
Oh. No,
and there's like barely any dialogue in the film, supposedly.
Oh, okay. It's the new John Woo flick. I had read something about it, but I didn't know that it was called Silent Night for some reason.
Check out the trailer. It looks fucking awesome. Can't wait. And I guess the guy who did the John Wick 4 choreography fight scenes, he did all of them he did it for this movie, which is fucking insane. So both of them working together.
Oh, Krasinski or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Also, everybody check out The Continental because it's really good. It's on Peacock right now.
Still gotta check it out. I still gotta check out John Wick 4. Damn it.
He still hasn't seen John Wick 4. Can you believe that? It's probably just ruined for him.
No, I don't think so.
No one has ruined anything for me.
Good.
Even I've seen it, I don't think I've seen anything that's like a spoiler.
Well, good. We'll keep it that way.
But that's all I got for my news.
You're not gonna talk about Wrestle Dream?
I had it in my news if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Just drop the big
spoiler for everybody.
The big bomb, unless you don't want to, which we can just bypass.
No, I will. In some crazy turn of events last night, AEW's Wrestle Dream, which in my opinion was probably one of their best pay-per-views the last couple months, probably a year, and that's saying something because All In was fucking awesome, but
I stayed up till like 2 a.m. watching like 4 hours.
The replay.
Yeah.
It was fucking 4 hours. It's long as shit. It's crazy, dude. It's like 14 matches. Some crazy events. Tony Khan and AEW signed Adam Edge Copeland, and he debuted last night and kind of confronted Christian Cage. It's kind of fucking awesome to see both of them in the ring together.
The Brood.
The Brood. Dude, I think it's insane. It's an insane sign for AEW. I know there was rumors, and like I kind of knew like with that with that match headlining, everyone kind of, okay, they're either trolling us really, really hard, or it's going to really happen. And it did happen, and I fucking jumped out of my fucking seat. I screamed because I could not believe Edge was in AEW. It's probably as big or just as big as CM Punk signing to AEW. So yeah, dude, kind of crazy.
I noticed he has to go by Adam Copeland now. He can't go by Edge because of licensing or something.
Yeah, because WWE owns that. But what's crazy is they don't own
Rated R
Metalingus. They don't own that. I guess they dropped the copyright like in 2020. So that's why they could still use Rated R Superstar. And then Metalingus, the song that he comes out with, out to by Alter Bridge, he's fucking good friends with Mark Tremonti, so that's why he can use the song. They just I think they re-recorded I don't think it says, I think it's, what does it say? It doesn't say "You Think You Know Me," it's "You Think You Know Him." Right before, yeah. And I just read before we got on air that him and his wife, Beth Phoenix, who's a WWE Hall of Famer, they recorded that themselves, and it's her saying it.
Wow.
Because in like the heat of the moment, all I heard was "You Think You Know Me," but when you go back and watch it, it's "You Think You Know Him." It just sounds almost identical.
What did you think was going to happen in those final moments? Did you think he was going to give the chair shot to Sting, or?
I thought he was always going to give that chair shot to Luchasaurus or Nick Young or Christian Cage. Like, I did not think they would bring him over, probably their biggest signing of all time, and him be a heel when they already have Christian Cage. MJF kind of is teetering right now, being like a babyface heel. I did not think they would make him a heel, and they didn't. So it's going to be awesome for him to be kind of like the face of maybe Collision. That'd be awesome. And also, too, like, I've been reading a lot of things about how WWE fans are kind of pissed off that he jumped ship. But in the last, 4 or 5 months since WrestleMania, he had only wrestled 4 times. Like, they weren't using him a lot. He did everything you could possibly do in WWE. And I think in that press conference he said, it's just something, it gives me something new to do. And it's like I have a new, fresh take on wrestling. And there's obviously tons of wrestlers that he's familiar with in AEW, but there's a lot of wrestlers that he's not familiar with. And he name dropped a whole bunch of wrestlers that he wants to wrestle. Omega, Swerve Strickland. He wants to work with Nick Young, that young kid that was there at with Christian Cage. So it's cool that we get to see him do new things and fight people that we never thought he'd fight again, like Christian, or even team up with Sting. He's never even wrestled Sting before. So it's going to be cool, dude. Super, super stoked for that.
I also wanted to say, last night I was like, damn, Christian Cage has to be one of the most, one of the main wrestlers who is aging very well, because he has looked the same for so long.
He looks good, dude, and he still wrestles pretty good, dude. The Hardys, when they're in ring, they look like they've lost a couple steps. Edge doesn't look like he's lost anything as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he looks like he's gotten older. But Christian, dude, he doesn't look like he's missed a beat, and he still looks the fucking same, except for his hair is short.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see what WWE does. I think they're going to get Punk.
I do have a couple things for both of you. First up, Saw X is officially out and is not only making money, but it actually is being praised by critics, sitting at an 84 on Rotten currently. This sees the return of both Jigsaw and Amanda, acting as a character study for both. I hear it's pretty good and one of the best in the franchise.
What number is this? 10?
10.
Is that what it's called? X?
Uh-huh.
10, but it takes place hours after 1, right?
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't.
Okay.
But I mean, it is. Tobin Bell is coming back, and I feel like he was why everybody gravitated towards these movies in the first place. He's always been good.
Yeah, and then doesn't Six Flags have a maze on that too?
Really? I had only heard of the Conjuring maze, but
Yeah, I think it's The Conjuring and
Saw.
Saw. Yeah,
That makes sense.
Halloween.
You know what
time.
I've loved is all the fucking the promotions they've done leading up for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw, but it was like I think it was like one of the news out of LA. Like, it was like a real legit report. She was on the street, and like right before she gets off the street is fucking Billy on the tricycle, and he's like riding past her, and then it cuts back to in the studio. They didn't mention it, nothing.
That's pretty cool. I haven't seen nothing. I haven't seen nothing for this movie.
No?
No promotion.
Interesting.
I won't give away the story. I was watching like a TikTok or something, and someone gave like a spoiler-free review, and the story seems pretty cool. I'll admit it's a good, interesting way to bring them back, and I'm excited to see all the gore because apparently people are saying that it's more gory than Terrifier 2.
That it was making people sick, like Terrifier.
Yeah.
I mean, that's subjective. That's
what was it? Damien Leone. He tweeted out. He said, "Well, if people are saying this, I guess we're going to have to go even harder for Terrifier 3."
There's no fucking way they can. There's no way. That fool was eating fucking mashed potatoes.
I knew you were gonna say that. You're gonna say that right now.
You can't do it. I'll never look at mashed potatoes the same again. Every time I eat mashed potatoes, I think about that fucking scene.
Mashed potatoes are good.
They're fucking top tier. One of the best ways you can eat a potato.
So the Hulu original film Prey is officially getting a sequel, and it's now in development. You guys excited about this? I don't know how they're gonna do it, because I felt like Prey was a pretty good like standalone story.
Yeah. Is it going to be like a direct sequel?
Supposedly, yes.
Huh. I mean, maybe they come back for her.
True, but at the same time, doesn't that kind of like ruin the end of the original? But what do I know?
Maybe it does.
I'm just a guy.
Also, too, it's kind of crazy that they're making a sequel, and like they thought, whenever I see a studio put a movie out in and do it just streaming when they could have done theatrical, it shows like they don't believe in it. It's just like the movie we're about to talk about right now. They thought they were gonna, it was gonna be streaming, and then they kind of restructured things in Warner Brothers. They wanted to go a different route, but I think that movie would have made a shit ton of money for Fox and Disney if they would have released it in theaters. So hopefully the second one gets thrown on the big screen.
Go ahead.
Well, so are they doing a second one just because it did well? It had like...
Because it's, what's his name? Dan Trachtenberg, I believe, is coming back, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think, it was just because people really loved it, so they're coming back to do another one.
That one was good too. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
I know it pissed Wes off when I said it, but I'll say it again. I think it's better than the first one. Sorry.
Get to the chopper. I don't know about all that. It's close. Maybe on a par. All right, Ryan?
All right.
Moving on, Miramax is now shopping around the rights for the Halloween franchise, and A24 is leading on the current bids, supposedly for a TV show. That was fast. And this is
too fast.
This is coming from somebody who is the biggest Mikey fan you might ever meet, all right? But that was pretty fast for them to be announcing this already. We just got...
like I said, dude, I fucking called it. When we did that, when Kills came out and Ends came out, I told you, dude, give it fucking a couple years. What happened? Gave it a fucking year.
Money. It's money.
Money talks. It's all money. I just hope they don't, like, that storyline is over. Like, it's done. Don't touch it. Don't try to bring back anybody. Either reboot the complete the whole thing again, it's like fucking Zombie tried to do, or do the show and start from the beginning again, but I want that timeline, and I want that story finished because I liked how it ended, and Laurie deserves to ride off in the sunset. Laurie Strode.
I think the television aspect, like, we've never seen Mikey on the small screen, so if they are really going to do that, that could work. But yeah, they need to restart it or do the story in a different way or pick up on a different timeline. But yeah, I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis is going to let them touch anything because it's still fresh, whatever. Regardless of what people think of ends, like, that's still canon, but I am excited that I hope A24 gets it because they're magical studio.
And hopefully it goes to someone like, what is their shows? When do their shows come out on Stars or Showtime?
A24?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do Euphoria. That's HBO or Max.
HBO.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's something like that, not like fucking FX or something.
Oh, where they're limited as to what they can do.
If they're gonna do it, I want it done right.
And now it's time for the weekly recommendations.
I don't have much. I have one, and it's What We Do in the Shadows, the show. I don't know what took me so long to start it, but it is fucking hilarious, and I cannot get enough of it. The only thing I'm going to complain about is that it's on Hulu, and every fucking 5 minutes is a goddamn fucking commercial.
Why don't you not pay for no ads?
I have the highest one. I pay for live. It's like almost $85.
So why are they doing you dirty like that?
I don't fucking know. Who owns Hulu?
I have Hulu.
It's Disney.
No, who owns Hulu?
Disney.
Is it Disney?
But
I gotta go fucking what's his name's doorstep.
But why does yours have ads? Mine doesn't have ads. But I only have.
What?
You have a bundle with like a lot of other stuff.
No, I pay for Hulu Live, which is TV, which is like almost. It's like I have a sports package too. It's almost like $90. I pay.
Don't like sports, and then
It's a fucking curse, Emma. Come on.
But I love that show.
Yeah,
I absolutely adore it.
Goddamn funny, fucking Matt Berry. I want him injected into my veins. It's so fucking funny. It's only like the first season, and like the amount of one-liners, like all-time one-liners he's had in it is fucking the best.
It's literally like that the entire show, all seasons.
Yeah, but I love it.
Wes doesn't like those kind of shows.
I wonder why.
He doesn't like good stuff.
No comment.
I haven't seen the movie, so when I finish the show, I'll go back and watch the movie. I think Wes likes some good stuff.
Thank you, Ryan. That's why you're my friend. Emma.
Well, I was gonna wreck this show also. Not this one. Castle Rock. Yeah, it's also on Hulu, right? I think.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Yeah. That, and then also, the Bird Box movie Barcelona, which I watched recently, and I enjoyed it. It was a good watch.
All right. I have two for you guys. They're just anniversary shout-outs. The first is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. The producer's cut celebrates 28 years of existence this week. So, go watch that. Especially Ryan, who has not seen the producer's cut yet somehow.
Well, let me ask you a question, Wes.
Yeah.
Where does one see the producer's cut at?
They you can buy it physically. They have the Blu-rays now that are being released should all have the producer's cut as a add-on.
Does it give you more Paul Rudd?
Yes.
You sold me.
Like creepy Paul Rudd.
Hey, he's still fine.
He looks the same.
He looks exactly the same. And I don't think he's ever done a role like this.
Except for this.
Except for this.
Yeah, like the spookiest he's done is the new Ghostbusters, which is ironic because he would have reprised his role as Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills, but he was busy filming for Ghostbusters.
It sucks. That's probably the biggest thing I hate about that fucking trilogy is the house. They couldn't fit him into the movie.
That would have been great. I would have loved to see that. Although I liked him in the Ghostbusters movie.
He was fun.
Yeah, yes. He was such a good character in the movie.
When he's showing the kids Child's Play.
Honestly, I relate a lot to him as a teacher. Yeah, that was a fun movie.
And then my second rec is the original Urban Legend also celebrates 25 years of existence this past week. So go check that out. Hopefully, people listening to this have already seen it. I feel like.
What's in that film?
You have Rebecca Gayheart from Jawbreaker, a young Jared Leto, Danielle Harris, Brad Dourif.
Forgot Danielle Harris is in that.
Yeah, she is.
Brad Dourif.
Urban Legend, the first one, the only one that matters. Watch it because it's awesome. And it's a very kind of like early feminist take on slasher films.
Is this streaming anywhere?
I feel like you just make up these streaming services. Tubi, even though I know they're real, but the names just sound... The last one was like Vimeo. Like, what is that?
It's on Urban Legend. The original is on Pluto TV right now.
Pluto TV.
Nice. Yeah. It's completely free. So
you know what? People be talking shit about Pluto and Tubi, but they got a good catalog of fucking horror movies.
And they stay having it, too. It doesn't...
Yeah.
It's like, you're a little poor, you know?
I'm gonna go watch my movie in Tubi.
I don't feel like pulling out my DVD, so I'm gonna watch it on Pluto. But yeah, Urban Legend, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, and The Curse of Michael Myers has an 8% on Rotten.
Dang,
that's pretty low.
How much did you say? How much does Resurrection have?
Resurrection, which is by far the worst movie in that whole franchise, has a 10%.
Fucking insane. That movie should have a fucking 0. That movie should be right there with Steel. With fucking 4%.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
All right. So this week, we're talking about Evil Dead Rise. We did a poll online, and you guys chose this instead of Alfred Hitchcock's Rope. So sorry, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Really sorry about that.
But was it close? Like,
yes, it was.
It was close. It was close.
It was like what, like 49% for Rope, 56% for Rise.
Dang.
Pretty neck and neck. And then for Hours, it was 50-50. All right, so we're talking about Evil Dead Rise this week. It's rated R. It's from 2023. It's a horror film. It runs at 1 hour and 36 minutes, and it's got an 84 on Rotten. It was written and directed by Lee Cronin, who is an Irish filmmaker. Relatively new to the game, starring Alyssa Sutherland, Lily Sullivan, Gabrielle Eccles, Morgan Davies, and introducing Nell Fisher. So Evil Dead Rise tells the relatively straightforward story of Beth, a traveling guitar technician who finds out she's pregnant and in turn reaches out to her strange sister Ellie. Ellie reads as a subculturist, practicing her in-home tattoo craft, while her 3 kids, Bridget, Danny, and Cassie, all portray what many would consider as an alternative family unit. Danny is an aspiring DJ, Bridget is most likely a non-binary, with great post-punk grunge style, and Cassie, the youngest, is spiritual in the sense that she creates a makeshift weapon to ward off evil ghosts. Beth arrives at the family's dilapidated high-rise LA apartment complex and is mostly welcomed in with open arms, although Ellie does seem to harbor some resentment towards her sister for not being there during the family's still recent departure from the father/husband figure. A significant earthquake hits the area while the kids are picking up pizza, and Danny finds an infamous book along with some mysterious records. Against the wishes of Bridget, Danny brings the items home and begins to decipher incantations that will change the fate of his family along with the building's inhabitants forever. Overall, the film does a great job of keeping the viewers on their toes with a solid non-linear opening that takes us back to a cabin setting, despite the main story being set in a city backdrop. The makeup and practical effects are beautiful and disgusting in equal measure, and the decision to use less CGI will definitely help the film age more gracefully and sit alongside the 2013 remake perfectly. The film does establish that it aims to be just as, if not more, visceral and depraved than its predecessor, and completely delivers on that front. Easter eggs can be found throughout this slim runtime for hardcore fans, but what I found even more intriguing about the execution was the director's decision to leave little to no exposition for the mythos of the universe, which might be annoying to some, but I found that this small aspect might actually help the film be even more scary, especially for those who might be stepping into the world for the very first time. Aside from a few pieces of unnatural dialogue in the writing, the acting is pretty good, with some of the highlights coming from Alyssa Sutherland, aka Ellie, and Gabrielle Eccles, aka Bridget. 2023 has been a pretty solid year for the horror genre so far, and this project has ultimately kept that traction rolling for the overall genre. Go out and support these type of flicks so we can continue to get more high quality content such as this one, and to think Evil Dead Rise was almost set to be released exclusively to digital via HBO Max, or Max now. 3.5 cheese graters out of 5. Thank you.
The film was all right. It was okay.
So now that you've seen it a few times, you know, I know you watched it in preparation for the show. Would you say your stance on it has lessened? Do you not like it as much as you thought you did, or do you care to elaborate on that?
Do you remember, because you remember this type of stuff, do you remember what I thought about the movie when I first saw it? Because I don't think I do.
I think you said that it was good and that you weren't disappointed.
I feel the same. But watching it again, I watched it a few times now. I just don't know why did the main character have to be pregnant?
Because you're saying because they never kind of come back to that? Like they never...
No, like why I'm just like, why does that have to be part of the film? I don't know. Like why pick that, you know? That was just... Maybe
high stakes because
Maybe.
They don't technically forget about it, right? Ryan, you know, halfway through the film when her family is starting to turn, they're making gestures that they know that she's pregnant or so far along or whatever. So they kind of keep up with that continuity, but it still never develops or goes anywhere. Now that you mentioned that, Ryan, what are your thoughts on this film, and where does it stack up for you as far as the Evil Dead universe?
So I think your 3.5 stars is pretty spot on. I think I gave it 3.5 on Letterboxd as well. I liked it a lot. This is when I just rewatched it maybe like a couple hours ago. It was only my second rewatch, and I still liked it. And I think rewatching it again, I enjoyed it a little bit. Not that I didn't enjoy it the first time, but I liked it. I think I liked it even more just because of the a lot of the gore in it is done very well, and but the way that certain scenes are set up and shot, and the lighting, I like the gore in it a lot more than the first time. But on terms of where it stands in the franchise, I think I would still put 2013 in front of it. I think that's almost perfect movie in my opinion. I think that's still, in my opinion, the best remake, reboot of a horror film. But that being said, it still stands pretty close to it. And then just with the whole franchise in general, this is like, I definitely think the Evil Dead franchise is probably the best horror franchise that we have. I mean, you start from Evil Dead, and then the second, Army of Darkness, 2013. You can even include the show and this. None of them are misses, and you can, within the first 3 or 4 movies of Halloween, the original Halloween trilogy, you can count a miss. Same with Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This franchise is way ahead of everything else, I think. And I do think it has to do with the fact that Bruce and both Raimi's are still have their hands in it.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with why I think that they continue to create like great content or content that we want to see, is because they know they're staying in line with what they started with the original, you know? And I feel like they've never strayed away the way that other franchises tend to do. So yeah, I think I would agree with you that Evil Dead is one of the stronger, as far as like an entire franchise going through down the line. There's not really one that you can really shit on too bad. And I feel like a lot of people probably thought that Evil Dead Rise was not going to really live up to expectations, especially coming off of an incredible remake from Fede Alvarez, you know? But they did, like, Lee Cronin really did something special. And you know, we have to think about the fact that he's only has one other feature-length film under his belt. Now 2, with counting this one, but yeah. When you watch this movie, it doesn't scream amateur whatsoever. It's very polished. It looks very good. Especially like that opening stuff, the way that they chose to include the cabin opening. Oh
yeah, that opening crawl is probably one of my favorites. Like it's hard to beat. Just with it's that opening crawl is I didn't get to see this on the big screen, and so that opening crawl, that opening scene is something that I wish I would have seen on the big screen. It is massive and very good.
Maybe they'll bring it back at some point.
Hopefully.
Because that's the time we're living in. Emma, you're so quiet.
Well, I agree with everything that Ryan said, honestly. The movie was okay for me. I enjoyed it. The gore was great. The fact that I feel like they used very little CGI. I'm not really, well versed in the knowledge of that, but it seemed great. Like the CGI, if they used it, was not, distracting or anything like that. The main character, one of the main, I guess the bad guy or whatever, Ellie, the mother, like she did amazing. She was great. The peephole scenes, those were so great. I love that.
Does anyone else think that she looks very much like Olivia Wilde?
Yeah, she does a little bit because she has like really big eyes.
I also love how it adds to the lore. We kind of find out that there are 3 books, right?
Yes, I'm glad you brought
And
that
that's
up.
something new that my first watch, I was like, oh my god, they're adding to it. There is 3 books in it. They're kind of, that's their way of piecing them all together. The 3 different Ash. Fuck, why am I blanking on 2013?
Mia.
And now this one. That's why they're all they're all in different kind of universes, because there's 3 different. I don't even think it's 3 different universes. I just think there's 3 different books throughout
the world.
But yeah, I love that, and then I love the record thing, dude. It's so fucking awesome how the hell they did that, and I love how Waxwork put it out, and they actually have the cantations on vinyl. So if you wanted to spin that, you could. Be real spooky.
Oh man, I'm glad that you enjoyed that, because I heard a lot of people, or I have friends that were talking shit about that aspect of the movie where they thought it was lame or cheesy. But it's like,
I think which the vinyl record part?
Yeah, yes, like that.
Yeah. Also too kind of fits in the story because one of the siblings want to be a DJ, right? Or they're like a DJ.
Yes.
So it's only fitting for them to find the records. But yeah, dude, I love that. So it was a nice touch. And I know you said you said there was a lot of Easter eggs. What Easter eggs?
Speaking of the books, I really enjoyed that touch of like how gnarly the book was. I thought that all the films just depict the books in different ways. This one was the one from 2013, Evil Dead. That one was pretty great, and this one too.
I feel like the 2013 book was a little. They all have that look, but the 2013 was a little bit more like unpolished. They had like the fucking barbed wire on it. It was like the skin looked like it was fucking gnarly. I did like the fact that the third one had like the teeth.
Yeah, those teeth
that snap back.
That was pretty crazy. But yeah, I think that's one of my favorite details of the franchise, how they took so much time with that detail, and it was different. It's different each film, but it's also the same concept, just reimagined.
Mm-hmm. I think I read somewhere too, I don't know if you read this, Wes, but how they're like kind of, after this, they were kind of working on Sam Raimi. The Raimis were working on kind of like a book. I think Bruce called it like a Bible for anyone who are going to do future movies, that they have this like kind of plan that they want these movies to fall into.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks that we never got that 2013 sequel.
Yeah, so before we got this film, for several years, we had rumors of Vade coming back to do a sequel with Mia, which never happened. And then we got the show instead. And then and then of course the video game also came out. But there was several different kind of versions of a film that were going to come out since 2013, and then Rise was kind of like what we ended up with. But to kind of go back to your question about the Easter eggs, when I put that in my write-up, it was initially because there were certain things that I feel like are big callbacks to the original trilogy and the remake also, but like during the ending of the film with the wood chipper.
The wood chipper.
The way that Beth executes the big I don't know what you call it, the big fucking monster thing, family monster with all everybody is molded together. She like she shoves the chainsaw kind of in the same way as Mia, so I feel like that was a big callback. And then the kind of the raining of blood, the way that 2013 ends, they do the same thing, but in the garage. So I felt like that was a callback.
And then aren't they all saying, what are they telling her when they're in the elevator? Aren't they yelling "Dead by Dawn" or "Dead by Daylight"? Dead by Dawn.
It's Dead by Dawn, yeah, which is a callback to Evil Dead 2, of course.
Yeah,
that's the subtitle for the movie. And then there's more hidden Easter eggs. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but the actual priest on the vinyls, that's Bruce Campbell's hidden cameo. That's him.
I knew that.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's his hidden cameo in the film. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't think that Ash's car is supposed to make an appearance in every movie. It's like a tradition, right? And I think in this one it doesn't show up, correct?
Is it not in the parking lot, in the parking structure?
I don't think that's the same car, the same Delta. But if my research is actually correct, supposedly that's why the chainsaw that Beth gets at the end is modeled to look exactly like the car as far as the color.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it is like yellow, right?
Yeah, so that's like the cheat code. That's the kind of like nod to Bruce's car, or Ash Williams's car in the franchise. So there is, tons of hidden stuff in here. Mommy's with the maggots now. Also, shout out to the crazy voice acting in this. It's so good as far as like the demons, what they're able to pull off.
I love how like the kids aren't even safe in this one.
Why was Beth the final girl if she also got hurt? You know how they get a cut or whatever and then they turn into a deadite?
It must have been like the blood didn't infect her, because I feel like that's when you're mixing the blood with someone else, like a bite or scratch or something. It infects you, so she would get, like, she got the cheese grater, right? But that the cheese grater didn't have blood on it. So I'm not sure if it has something to do with her being pregnant and that's why she was okay or something, because they make a reference where they're like, oh, 2 souls or something, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a good question. It's either that she just got really lucky or a huge plot hole that we didn't pay attention to.
Right. Yeah, I always thought about that since the first time I saw the movie. I'm just like, why her, you know?
But the little girl was safe too, right?
Yeah, but she didn't get hurt at all.
She gets grabbed through the door. Remember, she starts to open the door.
Also, the mom says some pretty gnarly things to the kids. I feel like they just took this opportunity to really dig into those kids.
Well, if you pay attention to that, like the hook of the movie, the first 20, 25 minutes, I feel like they really get you, or they're trying to get you attached to these people in the fastest way that they can in, like, you know, in an hour and a half horror movie. And they do a really good job of it, I think. No? No, you're not...
So. I don't know. It was very fast paced.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's not a lot of, like, you don't really feel for the characters or for the storyline. So it's just like very fast.
Okay.
I think that, like, the build up to things wasn't as effective as the previous film. I think that's kind of where it's just very fast. It's packed with stuff like gore all the time, you know, and the part where there's like not much gore happening, like it's very minimal, like that. Those parts are just a few minutes, and then it gets right into it.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I think that's it paying homage to the first and second one, because I feel like the first and second one are definitely like that, right? Like 2013 is the only one that you kind of get this really super deep personal story So that's why you feel for Mia, and you feel more for her brother and the friends. And I feel like this one was, you're right, it's kind of gets right to the point, kind of no meat of the story is there. So it'd be interesting to see if a director's cut ever does come out. But I didn't really mind it just because of sometimes I do love a story, like a movie that kind of takes its time and sets things up. But on the flip side of it, like I can't appreciate something that just gets right to the story, gets right into the thick of things, and that's why I appreciated this one. But I can definitely see why people or like you didn't really enjoy that aspect.
Were you guys fans of the change of scenery where it was, for the first time set in a city kind of backdrop and in a skyscraper? What were your guys' thoughts?
I was pretty hesitant when I first heard that it was a skyscraper, right? But after seeing the film, it doesn't actually, like, with the whole backdrop of there being an earthquake and all the lights are out and the way that it's shot, you kind of don't still, other than like the elevator sequences, like it kind of still gives you that cabin feel, right? Especially with them just only being in the kitchen or only being in the living room.
Yeah, it's shot very tightly, like so you have that kind of claustrophobic feel, and it does seem like they're trapped in the building or whatever, and they do a great job, at least in my opinion, of conveying that, where it seems like they have no choice. They're fighting for their lives inside this building or whatever. But it's pretty crazy that all these people live in this building and it's completely run down. Like borderline about to be like, what's the proper word? Like
condemned.
Condemned, yeah.
Is it crazy though? I feel like there's some pretty awful buildings.
Yeah. And they're
in that city.
And they're punk rock family.
But yeah,
also,
go ahead, Ryan.
No, real quick. I just like that's the kind of joke made by the little kid when they're like, "Oh, are you gonna come and watch the movies with me? We're all gonna. What's the franchise? Nightmare on Elm Street, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And the little brother's like, "Yeah, even the crappy one."
Yeah, I thought, like Ryan said at the beginning, I was really hesitant. I'm like, oh, what about, the forest setting, the woods and all of that. But after watching the movie, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like they set up that anthology of 3 books, and 3 settings, and obviously it's not going to be the same each time. And it made a lot of sense. Like, you could tell they put in a lot of thought. Not a lot of like open-ended like loopholes or anything like that.
Also, spoiler alert for anybody who might be listening to this who hasn't seen it yet, but the book ends up back into a rural kind of cabin-y, foresty area, right? Or the demons, I should say, they make their way back demons by the end.
Yeah, that was interesting.
They still find their way back into that kind of isolation,
I read a lot of comments that were saying, or like reviews or comments that were saying that the opening scene, that was useless, pointless, that they didn't get it why they did that. It made no sense. Obviously, it makes sense if you watch all the way till the end, but that there was a lot of people that just didn't get why that was the opening scene.
I mean, it's like, obviously, if you watch the movie and at the ending, you see why they put it in the film, but like, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it's fucking awesome. It's awesome. Like, and they do go, do call back to it at the end, and you find out how it got to that point. Like we always say, people just like to fucking complain about everything.
Yeah.
And it's, it sets up a potential follow-up for that book.
And those fucking 2 kills are gnarly. She fucking pulls that chick, she scalps that chick.
Yeah.
Just fucking rips her hair off.
I think that's still my favorite because it was it's 5 minutes into the movie and they do.
And then the guy goes in after her and only his fucking head comes out. And it's like, this is the fucking, like you said, it's like the first 5 minutes of the movie. And I'm getting awesome ass gore.
Completely out of context. And then we figure out that it's because, so Beth Kills, which is another franchise first, is like the big monster that's like combining all of the family except for the young daughter that gets grinded up into the wood chipper, whatever, which was like a franchise first. That was awesome. But then so Beth defeats the evil and then leaves or whatever, and then I guess a demon, the demon spirit or whatever is free and ends up going into this random tenant that's still around, and they're supposedly leaving to go on a road trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't know she's possessed yet, and then that's how the movie ends, is how the movie opens or whatever. So it made perfect sense to me once you watch the entire film. It's just, I don't know, structure, unorthodox structure. But to say that it was useless or dumb or gimmicky because it's Evil Dead, I mean, like, shouldn't we want that type of setting? I don't know. It's so fun to me. Also, we're going to Halloween Horror Nights. It was a couple weeks for Emma's birthday. It's not her birthday yet. So everybody...
It's October, so it's my birthday.
Libra, watch out.
Oh, Jesus.
But we're going, and they have the Evil Dead Rise maze.
I forgot about that.
Which should be pretty awesome. But this is a year that's pretty like banger after banger. They have like the Latin American, what do you call urban legends maze this year?
What?
Yeah, pretty cool. Oh yeah, Ryan. What do you want to tell Emma about the how you feel about the express passes we got?
Where do I begin? First off,
is it your birthday, Ryan? No, thank you. So
it is not my birthday. So that's look it. Your man wants to spend that much money on you. By all means, go ahead. But you guys better be fucking. You guys better get great. The back of your legs better come back graded for that fucking money.
I better eat like some glass or something at least, right?
Yes. Like Wes better get scalped. There's no fucking like that. Although I will say that if I were to go, I'd probably go that route because I don't like people, and that's fucking. You have to wait in line if you don't get those passes. And I've heard the lines this year are fucking ridiculous, like 2 hours, 3 hours, and that cuts it down by like 30. Like you only wait in like 20, 30 minutes, right? From what I've heard. So it might be worth it, but I don't know.
But see, we've been several years in a row, and it hasn't been. I mean, I can't speak for this year, but it's never been like that. Like how people are putting it out there, like it hasn't been like that.
Maybe like for like Stranger Things or something, where it'll be like an hour and a half wait, and we'll be like, all right, we'll wait and go do that later. But I think that just Horror Nights has, since we've been going, it's finally like become like a thing where everybody's like, oh, we gotta go, and now there's like this massive influx of, I think Universal seems like they're overselling tickets, and they're not really enforcing like a maximum capacity.
Well,
that's what I've heard.
That's what I've heard too, and I've seen so many videos and everything. But then today, funny enough, I saw and heard a segment of these two guys talking about all of this, and they were saying how if, like, a conspiracy theory, how if some people think that it's like other amusement parks like Six Flags, and not mainly they said Six Flags, like pushing all of these videos and like quote unquote information on horror on Universal so that they go to Six Flags.
Oh, okay, like reverse psychology.
Yeah, type of thing. And the way they explained it, I'm like, well, that kind of does make sense. Like, I could easily go, someone from Six Flags or whatever that works there, or, you know, wants to push that, promote those mazes and stuff. I could easily go to Horror Nights and be like, oh my god, take a video of a bunch of people. And obviously at certain points of the night, like certain areas of the park are gonna be full. Mm-hmm. So you could easily take a video, couple snippets, and be like, it's crazy here, guys. Don't go. It's not worth it. You know, I mean, you could spin it either both ways.
Spin it however you want, but that much money, Pedro Pascal better come on, fuck me in that maze.
Oh yeah, Last of Us. That's going to be awesome.
However, I have to say that Wes and I always go to the early entrance hours, like the day
after
and night.
2 p.m.
Yeah, like the half day and then the night events. And that is worth it. Like you're already in the park by the time all of the spooky stuff starts. So you don't have to worry about, you know, either waiting to get parking or waiting to get inside when it barely opens. Like, you're already inside. You've already been doing a couple things that, you know, are available during the day that are also available during the night. So, like, you get some things out of the way. And then you can kind of relax without the stress of, like, we gotta get in there, run to the mazes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you go, guys should go early in the day, like midday, 2 p.m. and on.
Because you get that big kind of jump start, especially when Halloween Horror Nights actually starts and they start letting people in. Like, you get like kind of first dibs on whichever maze, and you can knock out the big ones first, you know? Like this year, it'd probably be like The Exorcist, Last of Us, and Stranger Things are probably the ones that are going to be the longest or whatever, you know? But yeah.
What were some of your guys' favorite scenes in the film?
That opening scene, like I said, is probably up there for my favorite opening scenes of all time. But the cheese grater, obviously, but the one that fucking gets me is the glass. When she starts swallowing the glass, and you see the glass, and it has like that zoom in shot, and you see the glass going through her throat, and it kind of cuts her throat as she's swallowing the glass.
Bridget, right?
Yeah. I have a fucking, like, I don't like my, like, anything to do with necks. Like, I don't like my neck touch, nothing. So that shit fucking gets me going. And that shit, skin started to crawl the first time I saw that.
For me, I really like when Beth realizes that she's got to listen to the incantations in the record player, and then Ellie comes in through the, I think, like the ventilation duct system, and you see that kind of, you have that crazy shot where she's kind of out of focus, and I really like that kind of tension. And then, of course, like what's the youngest daughter's name? It's Cassie, I think.
Cassie.
Yeah, when Cassie is being manipulated by her mother, Ellie, outside in the hallway, that's a pretty badass scene, because you have nobody's really paying attention to what Cassie is doing, and so Ellie kind of jumps on that opportunity to hopefully get back in the house so she can, you know, kill everybody, and then Cassie almost falls for it. Where Ellie's like, yeah, your dad's out here with me, or whatever, like, everything's gonna be fine. But I really like how they take their time with that scene, and there's a lot of tension where you think shit is gonna get bad, and it almost does. It's very well played. Emma?
One scene that really stood out was when Bridget got stabbed in the face with Cassie's, the little girl. The little sister stabs the bigger sister.
Oh, yes.
Okay, that was cool. But then the brother, like, ties her up, and they think she's dead. And then just, like, casually wrap her in a...
On the bed, right?
They wrap her with a sheet, and then he ties her up. And he was just like, oh, just in case, you know? And then you turn around, and it's just, like, this wrapped up body on the bed. And I thought it was pretty funny, but it's just kind of fucked up that they can't go anywhere, so they just gotta, like, lay dead bodies around, you know?
What do you, like, if you were in that situation, would you do something differently with the bodies, like burn them or something? Because you're seeing that, like, bodies are, how do you say, being resurrected, reanimated, right? So,
right, but are you really thinking about that in the moment?
No,
I don't think so. No one's thinking about burning a body, especially if they're your sister.
Very true. But she does come back, right? Even though they tied her up, she does end up...
I think that I would do exactly what he did. I would fucking get a sheet, wrap her up, and then tie her
down.
Maybe, like barricade her in the closet or some shit like that.
What's your rating, Emma? I don't think you gave us an overall rating for this.
Yeah, I would say a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Is the remake your favorite?
I would have to say yes. I really, really enjoyed that film. That one is just, it's great. Plus, like, you just feel for the characters, you know, and it's like when they're hurting themselves is just so fucked up. Like this film, yeah, you know, she's eating some glass or this and that, but like I said, like that story is like really what got me.
Yeah, I think that now that you mention it, I think in the 2013 version, the whole premise of the movie is that these friends have taken Mia for like a detox of sorts, you know, so then that already sets this mood for, it's already like this somber type of story, and then it just gets even more and more nuts or whatever. And I feel like on a certain level, a lot of us can relate to those type of characters, which is probably why it works so well. And then of course it's very visceral in nature as well. But yeah, I could see why. I was just curious if like you still felt like you dig like the modern one, or which side of the coin you were on now.
I think Evil Dead is probably at the top of the list. This one, although this one is great. And like I said, I agree with everything that Ryan said at the beginning. It's just very effective with the gore and the deadites, and it gets straight to the point, you know, with showcasing all of that. And I think that was the point of this film, right?
Yeah. It gets in and gets out. It's pretty quick.
Also not showing much of, not getting into details about the book and, you know, the story behind all of that. Like, it's just, they just show it and, you know, you get what you get type of thing. And they don't go into much detail about it.
Yeah. Like I said, in my write-up, I felt like that was probably a smart way to go. So you're not tripping over yourself or taking too long. I can't wait to see what this guy does next. Final thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah. Go stream this movie and go watch all the other Evil Deads during this month. And yeah, Lee Cronin, insane how this movie was only his second feature film because it's so goddamn polished. Just like you said, I can't wait to see what he does next, or if he gets the next Evil Dead. But yeah, stoked on what he has to offer coming up.
With that being said, for our next episode, we are going to be stepping away from the spooky stuff for a little bit, as our resident projectionist Chris Pollock returns for a in-depth review for a little film from 1997 called LA Confidential, starring Kim Basinger, Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe, and then Kevin Spacey, who I shouldn't even be saying his name on the show. But yeah, LA Confidential. It's awesome.
Speaking of Russell Crowe, did you watch that Pope's Exorcist film?
I haven't seen it.
I watched it.
Is it good?
I wouldn't say like, oh, yeah, it's good, but it was okay. I didn't know what I was gonna expect. It was okay. It was a good watch. I just think Russell Crowe was good.
Have you watched Unhinged yet? Where he's like the...
No, I haven't.
That's a pretty fun movie too. The Road Rage movie that came out over the I think it's like 2020, right? Something like that. Ryan?
I haven't seen it. But I think it came out during that time because that's why no one has seen it, except for you.
Well, whatever. And he's doing Gladiator 2. Yeah, LA Confidential, incredible noir movie. That's coming up next week with Chris Pollock returning. That guy's always fun. So good on the show. So shout out to him. Go watch LA Confidential. It is streaming for free right now on the Plex app. I know I didn't make that up. It's a real app. For free. Or you can buy it for $4.99 on Apple.
All these apps are for free, guys. Like, he's making it up. He just made up all of these apps so that you can go watch free stuff.
Yeah, I'm just hosting all of this stuff, because that's how much I love movies. But yeah, LA Confidential is coming next episode for the end of September, technically. And now we're into October, which is awesome. It's now we are officially getting spooky on the show.
People are going nuts because there's a Friday the 13th in October.
Even though we won't get The Exorcist on that day.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Well, you can just go get a tattoo or something.
Or you can still go watch. So, The Exorcist is going to be coming out on the 6th. But you can still go watch Exorcist the Believer on the 13th and say, whatever, Swifty. You can't take this away. Thank you, Emma, for joining us again.
Sure.
This was a lot of fun, as per usual. Ryan, thank you for not throwing me through a table because apparently you were waiting for me all day.
Not all day, but you're welcome.
All right, we're going to get out of here. This is Wesley Swanson, Ryan Jimenez, and Emma Duenas signing off, saying good fight and good night. And stay spooky.
Goodbye.
She's trying to take your mommy away from you, Cassie.
I know you're not my mom anymore.
Don't take me from them. You have no idea what it's like to bring a child into this world, Beth.
That's my gun, you thieving cunt!
Everybody here dies by dawn, Beth.
Dead by dawn! Dead by dawn!